Our webinar is being recorded, so you will be getting a copy of this recording, a link to it in any event, and a copy of the slides. Hi, welcome. I'm Diane McKeever, and I am the Education Chair at Manasota SCORE. And I have with me Jack Morris, who's going to be bringing us through our presentation, questions to ask yourself before you start a business, before you get involved in it. Yes, there are things that we want you to know. But before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about SCORE. It's a nationwide nonprofit partner of the Small Business Administration, the SBA. SCORE provides free, confidential business advice to anybody that asks for it. We're happy to help you. Sometimes we work with clients for just a few sessions. Often we work with them for years. So you don't get rid of us until you say, enough, I'm finished. Our SCORE chapter, the Manasota chapter, has nearly 90 volunteers waiting to help you. We serve Manatee and Sarasota counties for over 50 years, and our chapter was recently recognized as a chapter of the year. Since its founding more than 50 years ago, SCORE has assisted over 11 million clients. So, where should you be in your phase of your business that we can help you? Well, as Jack is going to talk about today, pre-startup, when you're thinking about opening a business, what should you know before you start your business? We can help walk you through that. Or you've actually started one, maybe you shouldn't have started it quite so soon, but you've started it and you need a little help. We can help you with that. Or you want to grow your business. Or lastly, you're thinking about selling or closing your business. We have a group dedicated to that, standing by. If you're interested in a mentor for any of these phases of your business, just go to manasota.score.org and you can request a mentor. There are a couple of places that you can click to do that. You can find other workshops or webinar events that are upcoming. We have one next week on the business model canvas, which is a way of creating business, help me, Jack.
Business plan.
Business plans, thank you. The next week we have Workforce Board, who's going to talk to you about what they can help you with. And lastly, this month we have Unleashing Your Sales Superpowers. So if you don't have superpowers, we can help you. On our website, there are podcasts that have been recorded, and you can look at those. And lastly, we have other resources such as templates. If you're thinking about doing profit and loss statements and the like, we've got templates there to help you. And lastly, I'd like to thank our sponsors and community partners. You'll note that a lot of our sponsors are banks, and that's because if you come through SCORE to the bank, they're going to look at you a lot closer and more favorably than if you just walk into the bank by yourself, because they know that we've helped you do your due diligence. So let's thank our sponsors and community partners. They keep the lights on. So we're back to good old Jack Morris. Jack, do you want to tell us a capsule comment or two about who you are and what you do?
Let's see. Thanks, Diane. Hey, hi, everybody. And I'm really happy that we've got a crowd here today because this is the first presentation of its type with this chapter. But first, let's talk about me, because that's something that's let's see. I'm with SCORE. I've been down here in Sarasota for 6 years from Atlanta. I had a career in both business and education. In business, I had various marketing assignments with various companies, going from fast food to packaged goods, grocery store stuff, to trade, industrial trade like Georgia Pacific. So it was very, and hospitality. And so a very varied marketing background. Got into education because I believed strongly in the value of education, and it had a huge impact on my life. And I thought maybe I could help some other people coming up through education with some of my experience and ideas about how they could make a better life of themselves while they're in this very special place called a college or university. So that's it. That's my story. Here I am presenting this information to you. And it's important for you to know this because some of you may be in this situation. Diane and I and the rest of the chapter came to an understanding maybe about 2 years ago or less through COVID that there was a huge turnover with people leaving their existing employment and wanting to find something better. A huge population, mind-boggling, millions of people leaving their jobs every month. And so when this fact came to our attention, it made us sort of wonder what's going to happen when they discover SCORE and are going to start asking SCORE to help them answer some incredibly important questions. And these people inevitably showed up at SCORE, and thankfully. And so we started working with them and became fairly aware of the fact that they really didn't, some of them did not have a real solid understanding of what they were getting into. They didn't really have a good understanding of them internally as to what makes up a person who's going to do the incredibly exciting idea of starting your own business. What does that take? We'll deal with that. And then some other things, some skills, some attitudes that probably would be greatly important to somebody in these early stages of entrepreneurial activity. So we'll have that too. The SCORE chapter sort of thought this was worth doing. And so they said, go ahead, make a presentation out of this and see if we can help some of these people that may or may not be affiliated with SCORE, but give them a solid understanding of what they're getting into. And maybe some of them or maybe some of this is going to be already known, but maybe some of it's not going to be known, and that you will be taking a lot of notes so that you can get involved in an active Q&A, question and answer session at the end of my presentation. So that's that. Diane's moved over to this slide. It's very important. This slide is a result of a very important article I found on the internet, and you need to make sure you understand. This is from Entrepreneur magazine. See the word entrepreneur? There's a magazine with that word on it. You go to Entrepreneur magazine and look up characteristics of successful entrepreneurs, and you're going to get the entire presentation as to what it takes. There's maybe a dozen or more characteristics. We're not going to go through that. We're going to highlight some of the ones that Diane and I both feel are probably the best to initially get you into the idea of thinking about what kind of characteristics should be at least addressed by you as you go into that. I said take notes. There's a Q&A. So let's get into some of these characteristics. I am so blessed to have a partner who thinks of very creative visuals while I try to create something that might be a little dry or like, but it's really important, just like this little person's face. They take what they're doing now and in the future very seriously. You may not think, you may already think you do, and that's fine. But we're talking about things that are defined as enthusiasm, determination, patience, goal orientation. These are things you have to kind of do an inventory on yourself, saying, I want to do something different. I want to find something better. What am I willing to commit? Because starting a new business is, I don't want to say this too dramatically, but starting a new business is all consuming. There will never be enough time in the day to answer all the questions that you've carefully written down. There's never enough time in the day to contact the people who need to know what you're about to do. There's never enough time in the day to learn new things, because you're going to be constantly learning new things. So what you have to do is take yourself very seriously, have a goal. My hand is in front of me as if it's a goal. Have a goal and discipline yourself to every day move toward that goal. Okay, Diane. Oh, by the way, in case anybody's wondering why I'm saying Diane, Diane and I both came to a quick understanding that if I'm in charge of the slides, this presentation could very easily turn into reruns of Seinfeld episodes, and then she's mad at me for a while. And so she's going to control the slides. So it's in good hands. Okay, you're going to start a new business. A business is not something that operates in a vacuum. A business needs customers to create that all-important lifeblood of a new business called money. So if you are thinking about what you're doing and why you think it's important and all those things, you have to be thinking about who else is going to make this successful by spending their money with you. Now, I'm not going to answer that right now because we're going to be dealing with that in a few moments on a slide coming up later about customer research and customer sensitivity. But you need to know this up front. It's all about the customer, because they're the ones who are going to make your new business concept a success or something less than what you wanted it to be. Okay. The future in starting a new business is often daunting. That's a fancy word. It's very, very worrisome. You've got so many things you want to do and so little time to do them, and what on earth? And people are giving you advice and you're getting all this. Stay focused and know the road that leads you to starting your own business is going to be a little bumpy. And there's going to be some setbacks and confusion and sidetracking. Just stay focused on the goal. Don't be scared about the fact that maybe you didn't get some things done today. They're going to get done tomorrow or the day after that. Just stay focused on moving forward with a carefully prepared list of things that you need to resolve and get done. And don't be worried about it. I think some of the most interesting clients I've had at SCORE have been clients that were really excited, but not carelessly or naive excitement. I mean, they knew that this was going to be a big deal and they were willing to pay the dues to make it happen. And it's going to involve, as I said, some bumps in the road. Move through them and get on with the business of starting your business. Okay. This is also something that's a challenge for me. Technology, especially with the internet and social media, is something that is, how can I say this politely, is somewhat elusive. But the point is, technology and its ability to make your business operate more efficiently and effectively is what it is. It's going to be this giant thing that you've got to figure out, where do I need to go to get technology to best help me start my new business? I've got some issues here about social media. That's an aspect of technology. How to use the internet to promote your business. That is going to be a subject that Diane is constantly presenting to you in these kind of formats. So whenever you see a presentation that SCORE is coming up with, deals with these magical terms called search engine oriented SEO, search engine optimization. And then there's a thing called social media, and those two things are critical technology issues that are down the road, but they aren't down the road for you to avoid. They're down the road where you have to go to and through them to figure out how to best use them to your advantage. Okay. Time and money. Your time, your money. There isn't an unlimited amount of either of them. So you have to aggressively, you need to be very proactive in how you're spending your time and how you're using your money, because you're not at a point right now where unless you're independently wealthy, you're going to need to keep a firm hold on your time and money and how you're using them. Initially, I think for all of you attending, time management tends to be the more dominant of the two, because you're conceptually developing things, you're doing your research, you're doing things that don't necessarily require using your credit card or paying for. So time management and how you use your time. Here's a point for some of you. I know I've got clients that come come to SCORE, Diane does too, all of us have clients that come, and maybe some of them have a full-time job and they want to start a new business. Fine, no problem with that. Some of them have a part-time job and they might have that same desire to start that new business. Some of them have no job. And that's what we were basically seeing recently with this exodus out of through the COVID period. What I'm basically saying to you, you have to understand that the time you have for your business is limited by your other occupations and your other endeavors. You've got to respect the fact you got to keep your job, keep your part-time job. That requires time, but you've got to make sure that you are not letting your new business requirements get you sidetracked. You've got to use, if your time is that consumed with existing employment, you have to be even more critical in the way you manage that free time to invest in learning more about how to make your business as good as it can be before you start spending a lot of money investing in it as it has to now reach out and get into the world of marketing and promotion. Time management. Let me just let's keep that slide. Time management. Do you have a sheet of piece of paper that you keep your time records on? Do you have a to-do list of things that you know you have to start figuring out things? How much time do you estimate it's going to take to do those things? These are things you can start creating on your own, keeping a new business file involving projects that I need to begin doing and do until they are measurably completed. And then some kind of estimate as to the time you're willing to spend each week to make that happen. That's called time management. And so when you're finished with the week, if there is such a thing as the end of the week, entrepreneurs don't really know what the difference is between Saturday and Wednesday. So, but there is a point in time where you have to sort of take a look at your schedule to say, am I doing what I need to do with my time for the best outcome? Okay. These are all these characteristics of being an entrepreneur. So we've already been through 5 or 6 characteristic slides, maybe 5. So here's another one. I don't know if you're in college, if you're planning on going to college, or you're finished with college. When you're an entrepreneur, you are never out of a student mode. You're always learning about what you don't know or what you don't know enough about. You've got to be aggressively hungry for sources of information that can tell you about things that you need to absorb into your skill set, or to at least set aside to say, I am going to need to spend some time on this topic. Maybe it's social media. It would be best for you to start learning about that stuff. So you ought to have a pile of reading material or links on the internet of things that you should be spending time accessing, but you're never not learning. And if you go through a week where you can't record on your progress report what new things you've either become aware of or actually engaged in digesting, then that might have been an error on your part on planning how much time you're spending during the week, because learning has to be a constant, a never-ending ability to become smarter and more capable of managing this new business you're so excited about doing it, but you're going to do it when you become really the smartest person in the room about this business you're starting. And that's what your learning's all about. Oops. Okay. Is that the one, or is it networking? The one, is it? What's next, Diane? Okay. Selling. This is a tough subject, but entrepreneurs know how to sell. In other words, they know how to share information where the person listening to you or the people listening to you are motivated to want to know more about your business, perhaps interested enough to possibly spend money with you. That's selling. Selling is a little different than telling. It's a one initial difference, selling, telling, and the two are infinitely separated. Yes, you can tell people about who you are and what you've done and what your business is all about, but selling is getting them interested and motivated to wanting to be a part of your business because they want to be a customer. So how to sell is something that we're pretty good at SCORE to introduce you to. And by the way, a plug for Diane's next presentation, excuse me, next presentation, which is going to be the business model canvas. That is a fundamental SCORE document we used with all of our clients to help them go through stages of development. And one of them has to do with understanding what it is about your business that you can say that gets people interested and motivated to becoming possible customers. And so that becomes something we'll work with you to make sure that your selling skills, your communication selling skills are as good as they possibly can be with a business that conceptually in your own thinking is also as good as you can possibly make it. And then the social media will kick in and how to make sure that your selling communications are properly being put into the internet so they're reaching your customers efficiently and effectively, and they start contacting you to buy. So they know how to sell. There's plenty of documents out there on the internet. There are plenty of documents out on the internet on effective selling, or maybe selling in the industry that your new business is going to be in. You have to do a little creative searching on the computer to find those articles and links, and then find the ones that tend to treat you kindly. Maybe some preliminary stuff, and you'll know whether it's preliminary or not, but go search on the internet for selling techniques and learn more about that, because if and when you go and join SCORE, you're going to be tasked with developing those communications that effectively and efficiently sell your new business.
Don't forget, in 3 weeks, we're having a webinar on unleashing your sales superpowers.
Yeah, it's not an accident that Diane puts these presentations together in the order that they are. Okay, this may be the last characteristic of an entrepreneur, and I'll tell you, the article in Entrepreneur Magazine goes beyond what I'm giving you the top line summaries of, but network. It's all about telling people about what you're doing, getting them interested in what you're doing, and maybe getting them to help you figure out who else should want to know about this information. There is a skill that we will eventually introduce you to, and it's called the elevator pitch. And by the way, you can put those words in the computer and find out more about the elevator pitch. But the elevator pitch is actually your attempt to recruit people that can help you start your new business, because you're going to tell them about your new business in a very special and proactive way to get them to want to know more. And that's what the elevator pitch is all about. Make notes about the elevator pitch. It's well known on the internet, and there are all kinds of articles that will help you better understand that. But you can never, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and your new business is the future of your life, not exclusively, but you know what I mean, you're going to need to always have your antennas out for who do I need to know who can help me make this happen, either as a resource, a skill or knowledge resource for you, or as somebody you may want to think about down the road as bringing in as a partner to your business. So you're constantly dealing with people about what you're doing and what you need and who you are, so that they can become possibly involved. And that's what networking is all about. And I can't tell you how many clients I've met who have started their new business and their first business was coming out of networking and referral. That's when it starts generating revenue, and people who you're talking with people about buying something that you're offering for sale. And if you're successfully selling yourself, this networking is going to be the source of some of your initial revenue for your new business. It will never stop being a source of revenue because you'll continue to always network. But then the internet and social media will begin to be bringing in people that you cannot deal with person to person. So networking. Okay, somehow or another, I have not mentioned something I need to mention to you. There is a book out there, a book that I used all the time in teaching my classes in college, in university. It was a book about dealing with people. So it's a logical thing for me to include this right after the networking. This book was first written back in 1930. Yes, there were human beings around in that time. And so you may think, oh, what's that all about? Okay. It's all about how to deal with people and why people are critically important to your business success. Write down this title. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And doesn't the title intrigue you? Because isn't that exactly what you're trying to do? You're trying to contact people, get them interested in you, and influence them to take action on it, like buy something. So, and the reason I'm going to talk about this for a minute more, the reason this book is so valuable to you is because there may be a belief on your part that the electronics are going to be your one and only resource, but it's going to be you and the thoughts and words that come out and your attitude about other people, networking. And what this book is going to help you understand is how to communicate with people to get them on your side, how to win friends and influence people. You ever walk into a room with a bunch of strangers? It's an awkward situation. It's still awkward. It never isn't awkward. But the issue is, are you prepared to do something with those strangers that get a conversation started? And that is the whole process of how to develop your networking and stuff. Get a conversation. How do you get a conversation? You've got to understand what the other person needs to have a conversation. And this book is vital. Now, when I told you it was first written in 1930, that's the truth. And the author of the book was Dale Carnegie, D-A-L-L-E, Carnegie, as in the financial institution. There were other books. He did other books after the 30s. But if you're lucky enough to find the original, it's all you need. Yes, there were updates. Yes, they're interesting. I never found one that really moved me as powerfully as the original one did. He wrote it in the heart of the Depression, which your history books will tell you more about, but he wrote it in such a way to get people to understand how it works when you try to get other people involved in your business, your life. So keep that in mind. And by the way, there's I think the essence of that book is available again on the internet if you know how to look for it. So keep in mind for that. So so here we are now. So maybe we're through the entrepreneur hit list of characteristics, and maybe you've got them kind of lined up on your page, and maybe some of them you've checked as being, I need to do this. I need to look into this a little bit more. I don't know how I stand on this particular characteristics. You got to work with that. Nobody's got all the characteristics. Nobody's perfect, but you need to find those things that can help you grow and become smarter about the skills you're going to need, the attitudes you're going to need, so that you can achieve and realize the progress you want to make when you're starting a business. You got to have progress. Well, it takes work. And that's what this is all about, is you got to be ready to do the work. So now that we've done that, we're going to move into the second section of the thing. We're right on schedule. The second section of this is basically talking about questions you'll be asked. If and when you join SCORE, please, I think you will find a relationship with us to be extremely valuable. First of all, we're free. There goes the money aspect that you might be worried about. And it's a collective of people with incredibly varied experiences, some of which are going to be able to relate directly to you. And so look us up, and Diane will give you some more information about that as we conclude. Okay. You want to start a new business. Are you the smartest guy or smartest person in the room about your new business? Do you know everything there is to know about your business? How do you know that? Well, how do you know what this business is yours? How do you know about your business? What is the industry or category the business is in? You may not know that. I met clients that didn't know it. They wanted to start a business and they described it. And I said, so what category would you call that? Is it a product? Is it a service? What category of product is it? What category is it as a service? So if you will look at your business concept, then you have to sort of brainstorm. You have to play around a little bit and say, what basic categories are out there that this new business would fit into as a participant? Are you in home repair? Are you in auto repair? I'm making this up. Just to kind of give you examples. Are you in toiletries or personal care? Are you? Those are categories. So what you have to do is take your business concept and put it in one or more. Doesn't have to be one, but you put it in some logical business categories. And from there, you figure out what are the businesses that are in there, and we'll get to that in a couple of slides, but so you can start learning for what are the businesses are already involved in that category, and thus your learning curve goes straight up, and that's a great thing when you could learn more about the people who are already doing something similar to what you want to do, and now you're becoming very, very smart, very powerful, very productive. Okay. Well, there we are. I'm repeating myself a little bit. Be patient with yourself. If you're not exactly clear about it, play around with this idea on a piece of paper. What exactly is the product or service? It's basically one of two things. It's either something that can physically be purchased, or it is a service or a benefit that you want from somebody else doing some activity or work. So those are the two huge categories of businesses out there. Where does yours fit? Okay, Diane. Here's an interesting question. Are you qualified to be in the new business you want to start? And I mean qualified by not being smart in the head, but having spent some time in a business similar to the one you want to start. What did you learn? Maybe what you need to do is put down on a piece of paper where you've worked and what you learned. What were the skills you acquired? What was the knowledge that you acquired as you were in these other jobs and occupations that you think relate to your new business concept? These are incredibly important things for you to do, is figure out how you fit. And if you've already worked in a similar, I've got plenty of clients that worked in a business, I'll say financial services. They worked in a financial services company. They wanted to go out and start their own financial services company because they learned from their previous employer, I think there's some ways I can fit in here by offering a better version of that product that I used to be involved with. And so that's what you do when you've got to review your job history. Maybe you had a job in high school. Hey, you learned something, and what you need to do is keep a list of these things that you feel you've got the beginning of a handle on, or the beginning of developing some expertise. But you've got to be very critical about what have you got here that gives you the ability to properly manage this new business you want to do. Experience is a good way to justify that. So start doing some list making and start making a record of what you want to do. Okay, Dan. All right, we have to get to this. I've had clients that haven't got any money. I think Diane just laughed. Listen, it's not funny, but it's like, wow. No money? You don't have any money in a savings account or anything, because if you're going to start a business, you're going to have to buy some stuff. Let's say, what are we talking about? What about office supplies? Have you got an office that you're going to be, or a space in wherever you're living that can be dedicated to your office? You have a filing cabinet. I mean, these are very fundamental things that you're going to have to figure out. I got to have this stuff so that I can keep my new business effort here organized. Being organized is critical. I need to have it organized, and I need to have it so it allows me to be productive. And so I was telling you about making lists. What about, have you got a stack of notepads and stuff? You got it at some kind of stationery department or something? You need stuff to write on, just because you're going to be keeping track of all the things you're doing. So you need these supplies. Let's talk about something a little more important. Down the road with Diane and her business model canvas, you're going to get into things like website development. Maybe you're real good at that. Maybe you're not. Are you going to have to hire somebody to help you develop your website who really knows the ins and outs of doing that correctly, so that there's no mistakes being made that you have to circle around and go back and correct? You want to do that. At least you're going to try to minimize the amount of stuff going that way. So you're going to get into the electronic marketing phase of things, and you might have to go out and acquire resources. I have some experience with what those resources are about, as does Diane, and some of them are affordable. A couple of $100, maybe upwards to 1,000. But down the road, when you're dealing with a business that might be wanting to constantly be with you to work on your internet effort, because it's not something you can do and then back off. The internet requires some kind of constant pressure, which is also known as constant cash expense, to keep that resource connected with you. So you've got to take an inventory here of where's your startup money. You're going to need you're going to need to figure out what monies do you need while you're conceptually building your business. We already talked about the website development, those kind of things. But then year one, when most of the money that's coming into your business is coming through references and networking, before you really get the internet working to recognize you and to generate prospective customers. So you need kind of maybe 2 years, and that's ballpark. You need about a year. I'm putting a year to develop your new business. Maybe it's 6 months, but you need about a year of operating money while your new business is coming out of the egg, so to speak. So you're going to need money. Are you going to be able to borrow it from friends and family, or have you got it on your own? That's a reality check. You're going to have to figure out where your startup money is coming from. Diane will deal with that with you later on. Let's move on.
But I just want to interject. SCORE does not give you money. We
No.
are not a bank.
It's true. Okay. Do you have a plan? Here we go. Now, next week, Diane's going to give you a perfect recipe for a plan called the Business Model Canvas. It is an outstanding plan for starting your business. But right now, this should be something you've written down and made notes of. This whole presentation has dealt with topics that might help you develop a preliminary plan. It is not something, excuse me, this is not something that's going to be in stone, if you know what that means. You're not going to be committed to something that you'll have to account for, but you should start organizing the plan for your new business and break it down into certain categories. Let's see if the next slide gives some idea of what that is. Here's a category for you. Why do you think your new business is going to be successful? Oh, excuse me. The word in front of it is competitively successful. Remember when we talked about what category your business is? Well, you from that are going to know who the competition is, because they also exist in that category. And oh, by the way, they're already up and going. So you're going to have to figure out some way to get yourself elbowed into that tight room filled with competition. What's your story? What's going to be your business's reason for being able to get in there and fit and fight and win a competitive battle with your competition? Well, maybe you don't know all the answers to that. You stick with SCORE, and we're going to help you at least probe as much as possible where to find inside this business concept that you're really excited about, where to find things that represent something that allows your business to be considered competitively successful or effective. And that will happen. And we're going to have 2 slides coming up that might show you what. All right. You know who's going to tell you what your new business concept is and why it's competitively successful? These would be people who might be your customers. Now, you don't know who those folks are, but you kind of do because you probably know who the competition is and you kind of figure out, from your good CSI investigative skills, you're going to figure out who's shopping your competition and is there some way for you in networking to find out if people are buying from your competitors. Remember that slide? If somebody's shopping your competition right now, you might want to have them, kind of interview them quickly and effectively as to why do they like the business they're dealing with and what are its strengths, what really appeals to them, because customers usually buy from things they are attracted to. So who are your customers? You can start using some information to find that out. And networking is a great way to do that. And if your competition is a physical competitor, like there's a building containing the thing that people come to and buy, like a car wash, that's a physical place. You might be able to kind of just visit some of those places and talk to the people who are exiting. Don't interfere with them in the business, but talk to them when they're able to talk to you about why are they there and what do they like. It would help if you had some initial idea of what a customer profile might be for this new business of yours. It will become critically important when you get into the business model canvas. Okay. Okay, if somebody's got an existing business, you've got current customers because you've got an existing business. What are you doing to intercept them and to get them to respond to you as to why are they your customer? What do they like most about what you're offering them? And what would they wish they could get more of if you would modify or add to your product or service opportunity? Your existing customers are a valuable, it's a gold mine of people that you can relate to and talk to and get their information to find out how to get them coming back more frequently or how to have them come back and buy more when they visit with you. And so those existing customers, if you have an existing business, can very quickly point out your existing business's strengths and weaknesses. Again, don't get overly concerned about your being prepared for this section or not, because as you get into the following presentations that Diane's producing for you, you're going to learn a whole lot more about this. I'm just telling you, if you're an existing business, your existing customers are where you have to go to get your first customer research information to give you the strength to proceed on. All right, Diane, we're getting close. The competition that you've identified that's in your category, are there ones, and you know them because you've become an expert. So you know them and you're an expert. Are there ones that are real close to who you are and what you're trying to do? That's what we call primary competitors. And those are the ones where the customer can go back and forth until they decide some way, somehow to stick with you for the reasons that you're going to learn why. So again, you're in a business category, you've defined it, you kind of understand the businesses that are located within that category, and then from your investigation and research and knowledge, you find out which of that cluster of competitive companies, where's that cluster of ones that are the closest to you, because those are the ones that you're going to have to consider as the most important for you to research and understand. Okay. On your to-do list, what is it you have to learn? Your challenges for making your, am I learning enough about the business that is so I become the best expert in there? Do I understand the competition? This is kind of a repetitive slide to kind of summarize all the things that you should be paying attention to as you are going through the days, using your time wisely. What are you learning? What are you doing? How are you getting stronger in your ability to get that new business of yours off the ground and make it a reality? Okay. Oh, okay. Wrap up conclusion. Hugely important to understand that next week you're going to see this actually become actionable as Diane's business model canvas presentation is here. But basically, we've wrapped this into two things. One is the characteristics of an entrepreneur, and you got a handle on that. Go to the magazine article for a complete explanation of all of them. But then secondly, how do you develop your own skills, in terms of knowing more about who your competition is, knowing more about what your business's strengths are, maybe some weaknesses, something that you need to work on to maybe improve on, so that it's not any as the weakness that you're learning you might be having at this point. So that's it. That's the two sections of the presentation. Diane and I have left some time for some interactive Q&A. And so, Diane, I'm turning this back to you to figure out what's going on out there.
What's going on? Well, it's still sunny because we're in Florida, but I encourage you all to visit our Minnesota website, minnesota.score.org. If you want to apply for a mentor, and if Jack hasn't convinced you that applying for a mentor is a good idea, then we have failed. Please consider it. If you have expertise and would like to volunteer, that's even better. We're always looking for volunteers. Check out our other workshops. As I mentioned, the BMC, the Business Model Canvas, next week. We have Workforce Board coming the following week. And on the third week, we have Unleashing Your Sales Superpowers. So those are some that are coming up this month. There are podcasts, there are templates. All right, lastly, you're going to be getting a survey. If you liked what you heard, if you thought Jack did a great job, give him a 10, maybe a 9. Oh, never a 9.
Wow.
But more importantly, that survey will also ask you, what other topics are you interested in? As I mentioned, I'm the education chair, and I really, Ty said he's already ordered the book, but I'd really like to hear what your topics of interest are. So thank you, Ty, for buying the book. I bet I remember this book when I was just a wee child. We had it in our house, and if anything, I loved the graphics that were in it. I think I was always attracted to the graphics. Back in the day, I remember they were quite wonderful. So we've only got one open question right now, which was, yes, you'll be getting a copy of this presentation. That's not the question, but I see it. You will be getting a copy of the presentation, the video and the slides. So you'll be getting that in the next couple of days. But Joshua wanted to know, when we were talking about funding, is credit card stacking a funding method that you're familiar with? It's something I've been seeing advertised a lot recently. I bet it's being advertised by banks, but Jack, what's your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on it?
I need to understand what credit card stacking is. I'm not familiar
Right.
with the term, but here's my caution when credit cards come up. I tell my children this all the time when they were listening to me. The credit card is a temporary source of revenue. When I say temporary, the credit card wants their money sooner or later, and they're going to charge you a fee. So be real careful about using your credit card to start your business, because that's a loan. That is a loan. You're going to borrow money from your credit card. The interest rates are not good. So I'd be very careful about that. If credit card stacking implies balancing between more than one credit card to keep the balance low and everything, I'm kind of old school when it comes to credit cards. I don't believe they should be used except for extreme situations where you're going to empty that credit card balance very soon. Other than that, you're putting yourself in debt with a group of people that really enjoy charging high interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, I hope that helped. Something, that term sounds like it could be something you could use on the internet to find more information about it. And I would encourage you to do that. And I write a note to myself that I will also learn what that means. And maybe the next time we meet up, I'll be able to talk about that more factually.
Well, Jack, as you said, we're always learning, and
Yes.
I think we find that to be the case. Our clients will ask us these questions, and we'll help research them. One thing that Rachie has her first meeting with her mentor this Thursday. I'm
Awesome.
excited. Whoa, we're
Big
more
time.
excited. Rachie, thank you. I'm sorry, Rachie, Rachie.
Please, Glang, one more push here. If I don't personally deal with you when you join SCORE, because I tend to get involved with startups in terms of marketing communication, sooner or later, somebody will be dealing with you very importantly to really provide that incredibly important communication discipline that you've got to develop to talk about your business. So please, one more time, really give SCORE a serious look.
So Ty followed up with stacking is where you apply for small lines of credit in order to get larger lines.
I don't know what to say on that
Yeah.
because who am I to say how you should fund these important first 2 years? But I do know that credit cards just need to be handled with a high level of caution.
And what is this? How is it affecting your credit rating in the long run?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. These
I
are
would be cautious about this.
but you know something, there are people in SCORE who came from the banking industry
Yeah.
or are currently involved with the finance industry, and they will help you figure out startup financing when you really don't have a track record to go into. See all those bank sponsors and everything. It's great to have them there, but your business is currently in your head, and a banker needs a little more than that, than an idea. So keep the faith. If you got to use that credit card, use it extremely judiciously and carefully and move forward. But try not to use it as the only source of revenue to get that 2-year period funded.
And keep in mind that you will be assigned a mentor. And if your mentor doesn't have experience in a particular area, they will bring in co-mentors. That's what Jack was referring to, that he works with a lot of our clients. He'll work with them for 2 or 3 or 5 sessions, maybe a year, depends upon how open they are to his suggestions. But your mentor will bring in other people to help you and to be a success. That's really why we are volunteering, because we have been there and we want you to be a success in your business. So enough, I think, about what you can do to help yourself. It is find a mentor, do some more research, come to more webinars. We have these every single week. Go to our website and check out the upcoming webinars if they're of interest to you, and sign up for them.
Right.
So we have no further questions. I think you're off the hook, Jack. You're on your own. I'm sorry.
Well, I hope everybody's gotten a reasonable amount of benefit from this time, the time that you invested. I hope this has been helpful in helping you to add future time commitments and make sure you're moving forward. Good luck to all of you.
Very good. Thank you all for coming, and I will end this now.